Hi everyone, it's Alina and welcome to episode 7 of Entrepreneur Chit-Chat with Alina. And today, oh my gosh, today is going to be such an exciting episode. I am having one of the most amazing people on, and I'm inviting him to join right now. But I am just so thrilled. Entrepreneur Chit-Chat episode 7, it's going to be amazing. Um, and honestly, I am super excited. So, my special guest today will be joining any minute, and I'll let him introduce himself, but I'm sure you guys already know him. Um, Hi,
Hello!
how are you?
I'm very excited to chat with you.
Oh my gosh, I'm like a million times more excited. I'm just so inspired by you and everything that you've been able to accomplish. So thank you so much for being on Entrepreneur Chit Chat.
Well, I'm inspired by you and everything that you've accomplished in just a few years at only 15 years old. I watched this video of yours, and what I was most impressed with is you really are doing the work and you really know your stuff because you're not an influencer, you're an entrepreneur who is also an influencer, but you're an entrepreneur first. And there are some influencers who are trying to be entrepreneurs, but they're not really putting in the work. They're just promoting and lending their name. And that's not what you're doing. And that's so inspiring. Like when I saw you at that trade show, just spitting out all of the facts and like, well, this, that. I'm like, wow, it's truly so inspiring. So it really is my pleasure to chat with you.
My gosh, thank you so much. Honestly, as as somebody who really just started this company out as a way that I could eat candy without my parents saying no, it's pretty crazy that it's turned into, uh, having this influencer portion. But anyways, uh, just to start off the episode, could you give me like a little introduction? I'm sure everyone already knows you, but just for the sake of the show, name, age if you want, and your like job title.
Sure. Well, like you, I began my career as Perez Hilton as a hobby, uh, not thinking anything would come of it. You did Zolli just so that you could eat your lollipops and have your parents not give you flack over that. I began back in 2004 blogging before the word influencer existed and really before there was any social media. There was no YouTube, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram. That was the same year that Facebook launched. And you're so young that you probably don't even know. At the very beginning, when Facebook first launched, it was only for college students. And you had to be invited to use it. It wasn't mass and for everybody. It ultimately changed, but it was so different. I mean, even back then, uh, you know, I started creating content in the celebrity space. The traditional outlets like People Magazine and Us Weekly, they weren't using their websites to break celebrity news. It was just a placeholder. Like, go to our website to subscribe to the magazine, sign up for people on our website. And that whole world has changed now. It's become a lot more crowded. uh, it was, I wouldn't say easy at first, but it was less competitive because what helped really set me apart was I was doing something that really nobody else was, which is crazy. People were not talking about celebrities daily on the internet when I started. There wasn't even a TMZ. I was around for well over a year before TMZ launched, and I was able to achieve success quickly, and that really inspired the idea of TMZ to manifest, to start after seeing my success. So one of the things that I love to tell young people, and you're doing it, you've done it already, and I'm sure that you would tell this to your peers, and not even just young people, the same applies to anybody regardless of your age. I love to quote one of my favorite musicals because I love musicals. And
Me too.
there's a line in the musical Gypsy that resonates all of these decades later. And that line goes, you got to get a gimmick if you want to get ahead. And that's true. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a gimmick, but a lot of entrepreneurs
Be a little bit frozen, or maybe that's just on my end.
I'm right now. There we go. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that technology.
I think it's because Instagram just updated and they launched a new feature. Have you tried it yet? The rooms feature?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Now, starting today, you can invite 3 people to join you live. So it's kind of like a little conference, almost a panel. So 4 people could be going live simultaneously. Oh no, I feel like we're still frozen. This really sucks. Do
Yeah, I do not know what's up with that. I think
you
some
want to
people are
try
saying we
again?
should try to
No.
start it over. Yeah,
Should
okay.
we just keep
We'll be
going? What do
right
you
back, you
tell
guys. We're gonna
me?
start it over. I think we're gonna, try it one more time and see if the connection's better.
Okay, I'll log off and I'll log back on.
Hi guys, we are back. This is part 2 of Entrepreneur Chit-Chat episode 7. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but what can I say? The internet is not always the most reliable. So, we take it with a grain of salt, everything that goes on the internet, but we are working through the technical difficulties. Again, sorry about that little snafu, but I'm getting Perez back on here so we can continue our conversation. Um, and yeah, what can I say? Technology is not always the most reliable, and you know, we're working with it as best we can. Um, but yeah, so that's about all I can say about technology. Um, but press should be in just 1 sec so that we can get it started. And sorry guys, it's just taking a little bit longer than usual. Um, I invited Perez, and now I'm singing because that'll bypass the time.
It's gonna work.
Perfect. Perfect. I think we're good this time.
All right. So I was saying, are you able to like splice the 2 videos together, or
Yeah,
should we
yeah, yeah,
start like
yeah.
pretend like this is the first one? I don't know.
Oh, I can just throw them together. Part 1 and part 2. People love those.
All right. I was saying a lot of people have been conditioned into believing that ideas are special, and I don't believe that. I think that people are special because the world is so ginormous. And even if you are so lucky to come up with an idea that has never been done before. There's so many hundreds of millions of people alive. Somebody at the exact same moment, halfway across the world, could come up with your same exact idea. They didn't steal it. You both came up with the same groundbreaking idea. But these two people are going to execute the idea in very different ways, because the idea is not special. It's you that's special. It's how you execute that is what makes it special. So when a person is able to find what makes them different, their gimmick, what sets them apart, that's when I think success comes to them.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and everyone has, that different mindset, that different plan of attack, if you will. So, it really is all about the type of person you are, and how you look at the world and how you look at, your ideas. Um, and so, when you were beginning your blog, and like you were saying, there was nobody else doing it. Did you know that you were becoming an entrepreneur and you know, really trailblazing?
I had no idea what I was doing for the first few years. And that's great, because if I thought about it like a business, I probably would not have started it. I went to school for acting. I am the creative. Along the way, I've had to also become a business person. But at the core of who I am, it's an idea person. I never have a shortage of ideas that I want to execute and share with people. And in fact, there were so many folks that were discouraging me from doing my blog because nobody had done it before. At the time, I had a traditional job. I was working at a celebrity weekly at a magazine, Star Magazine, and I was very unhappy there. And I would ask my colleagues, should I quit this and do my website full time? And they're like, nobody's making money on the internet. No, that's a dumb idea. Don't do that. And I also think that one of the key ingredients to a very successful entrepreneur or just person in life is fearlessness. You have to be unafraid to fail. You have to be unafraid to just do whatever you want to do, or let the fear fuel you. Like, yeah, this is scary, and I'm going to commit 110% to it also. Like, I don't know. I love that I've succeeded, but I've also failed a lot in my career, trying different things throughout the years and wasted a lot of money. I have a lot of regrets, but you live and you learn. Actually, one of my best pieces of advice that I can give you, and I think you might be doing this, when you start making a good amount of money, the temptation might be to scale big very quickly. And I say no. Slow your horses, simmer. And if you are going to scale big quickly, don't use your own money. Get investors. Because really, that's like the biggest mistake that I made was, like I said, I'm not a business person. I went to school for acting. So I thought that when you start making a lot of money, you invest that all back into your business. And I did. And I regret not having saved more. So if you're really lucky to be making a lot of money, sure, invest half of it back into your business after taxes, but save the other half. Put it into real estate, the stock market. Actually, my first bit of advice that I love to give influencers, but it could also be applied to entrepreneurs, is when you start making a good amount of money and your business has grown, and you are, well, I think you live in New York City, so this might be a little bit more difficult, but you can still sort of maybe do it. And most influencers, or a lot of them, are in Los Angeles. And when they're making all this money, it's so tempting for them to buy a big house or rent a big expensive house. And I say, no, don't do that. when you start making a good amount of money as an influencer, get a starter home. But your starter home should be a duplex or a triplex or a 4-unit building. Stay there for a bit, a couple of years. And then if you're still making a lot of money, then you can move out and buy your nice house. But keep that first piece of real estate as an income passive generating property for you, because that's a lot harder also to get out of. Like if you're investing in the stock market and all of a sudden it's like 5 years from now and you're not making as much as an influencer that you were 5 years ago, you might be really tempted to take your money out of the stock market just for living expenses. But the best way to grow your wealth is to play the long game in both real estate and the stock market. But I would say start with real estate, then go and diversify more in the stock market. But don't grow too big too quickly. Like we've seen it happen. So it happened to me and it was a mistake. And we've seen it happen to so many other businesses also.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And honestly, especially when you're a small company, those spikes of success can sometimes be the downfall if you um, you know uh, to put too many of your eggs in one basket based on that one little spike in success. And you have to, like you said, play the long game. And another thing that I always like to say is, yeah, it's great to invest in your own company, but also consider investing in other young entrepreneurs, other successful ideas that you believe in, that you're passionate about. And once you're to the point where you can start investing in things that you love, then that's also a really cool, I guess, step that I'm looking forward to in my career, where I can look at other young entrepreneurs and say, I believe in you. I want to invest in you as well. But what you've done is very different, and it's a different approach than a lot of entrepreneurs have taken. And you've built a personal brand. Most brands, they'll focus on, I built this product, all my messaging is going to be product related. But when you have, charisma, and you have, talent, and you're funny like you are, you have more to give. You're not just a product, but you have a personal brand. So how did you really make the most of your personal brand to help grow your audience?
I'm so happy that we're talking, because I would imagine that right now where you are, a lot of your followers are young, and it's important for them to hear that 9 out of 10 times life has taught me that awful things that happened to me ended up being great for me. And I'm going to give you 2 examples, one from a long time ago and a recent one. I have a personal brand, but it wasn't by choice. It happened because I got sued. I got sued in the spring of 2005 by the New York Post.
I was born in spring 2005.
Oh my God. Because my website was originally called page666.com, a play on the New York Post Page 6 gossip column. Well, the New York Post did not find that funny, and they thought it was brand confusion and dilution and trademark infringement and blah, blah, blah. So they sued me. And at the time, I didn't have any money saved, so I could not afford a lawyer to fight this lawsuit. But 2 great things happened out of that bad situation. One, they gave me a nice payout. I think it was like, I don't even know if I could say, oh, who cares, whatever. Like, it was so long ago. I think they gave me like $5,000, which at the time was a lot of money for me. It still is a lot. It's still
Yeah.
$5,000 helpful, I've got 3 kids. So they gave me $5,000. And what that forced me to do was I had to rebrand very quickly. Thankfully, I had already created the alter ego of Perez Hilton. So it seemed like a natural change to go from page666.com to perezhilton.com. But that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because instead of being, oh, that dude from that blog, oh, he's the dude from page 666. Instead of being the dude from page 666, I became Perez from PerezHilton.com, and I got money out of it. So, and then also around that same time, I talk about all of this in my memoir that came out last year. I mentioned I was working at Star Magazine while all of this was happening. I got fired from Star Magazine.
Oh no.
But it was a great thing because I hated it there. And I was really depressed because I felt stuck. Like a lot of people in jobs, right? They were paying me so well. I was making almost double at Star Magazine than I was at my previous job, which is a gay men's magazine called Instinct. Gay don't pay, let me tell you. But, you know, the mainstream publications pay a lot more. But I knew I didn't like it, and I stayed for the money. But after I got fired, because I sucked at it, and also a little bit of advice, if you're a 22-year-old or an 18-year-old, whomever, entering the workforce, your coworkers, you can be friendly with them, and they might be your friends, but not all of them are your friends. You might think they're all your friends, but some of them are going to talk about you behind your back. So if you're going around and you're confiding in them saying, should I quit my job? Word might get back to your boss that you're telling your coworkers that you're thinking of quitting. So unless you're prepared to get fired, you should keep that to yourself and maybe only talk to your family or friends outside of work about that. But getting fired from that job was the best thing that ever happened to me also, because I stayed there for about a little bit over 6 months, and I stayed long enough to be able to qualify for unemployment. So the unemployment that I was getting from that high paying job helped me live for the next year, basically, and devote myself full time to my website. And when I treated my blog and my hobby as a full-time job, that's when things really went to the next level. And then in December of last year, 2020, I made the New York Times, and I made a lot of headlines because I got banned from TikTok, even though I know that I did not do anything to warrant me getting banned. But you know what? It's a private app. They can do whatever they want. However, I felt like, well, I was really depressed last year because, like a lot of people, 2020 was very challenging.
2020 was a terrible year, and being a teenager, for sure, everyone was not in their prime, and everyone was spending way too much time on TikTok.
Yeah, so I ended up getting banned from TikTok, but had I not gotten banned from TikTok, my team and I would probably not have started a conversation with Triller. And now I am officially a part of the Triller family, and they've employed me. They've given me my own show and are paying me nicely. Actually, my contract is for 5 months. I'm going to make in 5 months more, and I projected it. If I continue to grow at the rate that I was on TikTok, in 5 months, I'm going to make more on Triller than I would have in 3 years on TikTok. And that would not have happened had I not gotten banned from TikTok. So thank you, TikTok.
Well, yeah, and it's all about, I like what you said about, how something bad happened, but then, you kind of turn around and you look for a different opportunity. You look for the good. And just like you said, now you're seeing more success on the other side. And that's when I think the mindset comes into play. Like, yes, something bad can happen. And with business, a lot of things happen, a lot of bad things happen, and there are a lot of disappointments. But if you change your mindset and you realize, if I look at this from another angle, the grass is going to be greener, and, maybe I can find something better, something that is, an even more fruitful opportunity. And I think that is, something that at least 2020 taught me. It's a good lesson, whether you're going into business, whether you're, wanting to be an influencer, really, anything that you want to do in life, it's having that more glass half full mindset.
And that takes work, right? It's not easy to think that way. You have to condition your brain to that. But the best advice that I can give you or anybody else, if you want to be successful at anything that you do, and your parents might disagree with me, so run this by them, okay? If you want to be successful, like in a major way, your goal, whatever that is, you have to have an unhealthy obsession with it. That needs to be your sole focus, because so many young people and old people too have believed this concept of balance. When you're 15 or in your 20s, and if you want to be super successful, there's not going to be balance. You're not going to have balance. You shouldn't even try for it, I say. That means friends, dating, other things are not gonna be as thriving. You can try for it, but your sole focus needs to be success in the way that you envision it, and you can't quit until you're there. It's like putting in the work. And I'm not just talking about success professionally, I'm also talking personally. Like if you are a figure skater, or if you are somebody who's really struggled with their weight, like I worked really hard to get in shape. And that's the one thing that life has taught me in my 42 years. The more you put into things, the more you get back. The harder you work, hard work pays off. I really believe that.
Yeah, and I feel like also the more you put in, and the more positive things that you put into it. And yeah, you could be angry working, but sometimes angry working doesn't produce good work. You have to, find something, which in my case, when I started my company at 7 years old, a 7-year-old only has so much attention span. But because I was so infatuated with this idea and I was so like driven to make it happen, my 7-year-old, attention span wasn't even in effect. I just wanted to work and I wanted to try. And I think that really sets apart, the entrepreneurs, that maybe aren't so successful from the ones that, achieve great success, is that, they are passionate, whether they have some kind of, financial goal that they want to achieve, or, they have a mission. Like in our case, we have our nonprofit, along with our company. So that's, our driving cause. And so, being passionate and putting in the positive work, I found is always when, better things happen, you see more success.
Yeah, you have to love what you do, and it's clear that you do. And also it goes back to, the being fearless and not thinking like everybody else, or like some people. Like I go back to the spring of 2005 when you were born. It was a very critical time for me, right? uh, it was the beginning of my career, but I was also incredibly depressed. And I was living in New York City at the time. And I remember one key life-changing conversation with my mother, who is Cuban and grew up in Cuba and moved to Miami when she was 15. And even though she's only in her 60s, like she's like another generation above her. She's in her 60s, but she thinks like an 80-something-year-old. No diss. It's like she only got a cell phone to text like a few years ago. Like she doesn't have a laptop or computer or anything like that. And I called my mom up while really depressed and working at Star Magazine and hating it, and really depressed to the point of having really dark thoughts. And my mother said to me, "Mijo, that's why they call it work. They don't call it happy." And I thought about that, and that's what she believed, but I could not accept that. And that's what a lot of people believe or have accepted. For me, at 24 years old, could not and would not and did not accept the belief that I would be stuck in a job or a series of jobs for the rest of my life that I hated, that I was just doing for the money. I, I would have rather not been alive than doing that, because what's the point for me? Like, I want to be like, life is meant to be lived to the fullest and happy. And like for my kids, there's a lot of great things that my mom did growing up. And one of them was really instilling in me that incredible work ethic, that immigrant mentality to not just work hard, but work harder than everybody else. And I try to instill that in my children. So I tell them, you're my son, you're my daughter, I love you, and I will support you in life no matter what, dot, 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 with one exception. And this might sound harsh to people, but I don't care. That one exception is I will not support my children if they're lazy. I will not. You can't be lazy. And that doesn't mean that they all have to have the ambition or drive that I have. But if they're wanting to just be a Starbucks barista, fine. But I want you to be the best, most creative barista. I want you to not just be a barista. I want you to start making up drinks and then inspire your bosses so much by like the really fun, fabulous drinks that you're making up that they want to promote you to the drink creator for all of Starbucks or whatever. Like, that's what I want for my kids, to like just work really hard and be the best at what they do.
Yeah, I mean, nothing happens for free. And it's and I don't mean free in the sense that, you don't have to pour so much money into it, but it's not just, snap your fingers, wish on the genie or whatever, and you get it. And that's not how business works, and that's not how life works. And I think there is some misconceptions, in kind of the influencer community, I would say, of people that just think, oh, make a few videos a week and then I have the rest of my life is set up for me. But no, you have to put in work, and you have to, realize that it's not easy, and it's not easy, and it doesn't take, zero time. But it doesn't have to be terrible or miserable. It can still be fun.
And one of the things that you have to do, which I've seen you've already done, is you have to keep reinventing also. So when you started, it was just about the lollipop, but now you also are making other products too.
Absolutely, absolutely. All about reinventing, and at least from a business standpoint, evolving your business model. Because the business model that you come up with 3 years before you start your company, and then when you actually start your company, and then 5 years after you've been selling, are all and should be completely different things, because priorities change, and once you hit one milestone, you have to, come up with something else to keep driving towards.
Wait, I have a question, because you were so kind to send my family Zolli products and my kids loved it. Um, are your products on Amazon?
Yes. So
Oh,
we've been selling on Amazon for probably 5 years now, and we're the number one selling sugar-free candy on Amazon.
I was gonna say, because when we're out, I want to support and buy some, but and I think it's good to hear how some people think. I mean, it's clear, like Amazon exploded last year. I hate buying things that are not on Amazon. It's like extra, I'm so busy, right? So
Yeah.
it's so easy for me to just get everything on Amazon. I get everything on Amazon. Even if I have to pay a little bit of a premium for some things, I'll still get it there, because like, oh, enter your credit card information and blah, blah, blah. It's just so much quicker. So I'm happy to hear you're on there and doing really.
Yes. Yes, it's cool to be a part of something like that, because especially in the retail world that got hit so hard last year, it was cool to still be supported by a big company like Amazon, and that's still going and still thriving. And then also setting the trends. 70% of online sales actually show up in store. So we're seeing the trends first on websites like Amazon, and we even created our own Shopify this year. So finding ways to, try to pivot, like I was saying, your business model always changes. And we definitely had to change and to pivot. But thank you so much. I'm really glad that you liked the products. We were like, well, how do we fit everything into one box? We needed a bigger box. But the last kind of segment that I like to do on Entrepreneur Chit Chat is kind of a little speed round. So if you're up for it, we have some quick questions. So my first question is, what is your favorite project that you've ever worked on?
My favorite project that I've ever worked on was my children's book. It's called The Boy with Pink Hair. And I'm just so proud of it because, sometimes musicians say that a song will write itself, like they're just channeling it. And that was the experience that I had writing the children's book. It wasn't with a co-author, it was totally by myself. And all that I had was the title in my mind, The Boy with Pink Hair. I sat down to write it, and I wrote it all in a few hours. It just poured out of me. And that book is in libraries across the world. And I still get people that tell me that it really meant a lot to their children, and it meant a lot to them. And it meant a lot to me because it was before my first child was born, 2 years before, and the dedication to the book, I said to my future children, hope to see you soon. And then my son was born 2 years later.
That's so inspiring. And honestly, a lot of people look at influencers on the surface and think, oh, they're just what they put out on social media, or they're just the bad stuff that comes out. People like to say bad stuff about me. People have said bad stuff about you. That's what happens when you're on the internet. And I go to high school, so it's obviously sometimes you're not facing the nicest stuff, but when a project is so close to your heart and inspiring, and like you said, it's writing itself, that means it's been waiting to happen. And I think that that's just one of the many inspiring things about you is that not only are you so multi-talented that you can do all these different things, but doing something meaningful and true to your heart is always a great project. So if this next question is about your kids, if one of your kids came up to you and said, Dad, I want to start a company, what would you say?
Awesome. How are you gonna do it without my money?
That's a pretty good answer. And I think my parents kind of had a similar approach when I came to them with my idea. They were like, okay, well, you have to be, independent about it. You have to go do the research. You got to put the work in. And I think that's the best way to kind of instill that independence. Because, parents aren't going to be around forever.
Your company without your parents' money?
Well, initially, it was all, off my research, me talking to my dentist and my dental hygienist, calling them up on the phone. And then I used like half of my savings, and then my parents matched it for the plant trials, because it's not always cheap to make candy, but it was half of all of my like birthday money from grandparents, everything like that. So, it was a proud moment.
You were putting your own hard-earned birthday and Christmas and all, because kids can, they can save a few $100 or more. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember when I was young, I used to save a lot of money too, because my family used to play like a Cuban bingo and we would play for money, and I was really good and I would win a lot of money that way.
That's so fun. I always love to hear about other people's like family traditions and stuff. That's always something that like interests me. And so I always think it's so cool when I learn new things about people. And so final question. This is the question of all questions. After trying Zolli Candy, how would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
You know, I like to be honest. I did not try it, but my kids did, and my mom did. Just because I've been like, I don't know if you guys could tell, like, I've been like, and I know it's sugar free, but I just did not want any at the time because it's like it might be like a trigger. Like if I had it, then I might want more. Like you have to know yourself, right? And like, I go big, and like moderation is not my thing. But let me ask my kids what they thought of it, and they still have it. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, I would love to meet them.
Ooh, they're in class.
Um,
Just ask real
that's
quick.
okay.
Mario, what did you think of your Zolli candies?
Good.
You like them?
Yes.
Do you remember what flavors you had?
No.
You had a few of them though, right? You liked it? She made them.
Hi.
Hello.
I shouldn't be interrupting class, but yes, my mom even had them too, and she loved it. So they were really good. They said it doesn't taste like it's sugar-free. So I remember that.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Honestly, it's so inspiring for me to to be able to, share like what I invented with someone who has, as much influence and as much, like fame truly as you do. And it's honestly like I was so starstruck when I realized that, like, I was like, oh my gosh, he knows who I am. I woke up both of my parents and I was like, you guys, you're not gonna believe this. But
Well,
um
I want to see, I think it's important for you to be creating content that also tells your story, and like maybe have your mom or dad set up a Clubhouse account for them that you could be on, because you have to be 18 to be on there. But they could set up the account and you could be on there. They could set up the account as like, Zolli, and you could be talking. And like, I, I think young people need to see you. Like, I don't want to sound cheesy, but like I want my daughters to have somebody like you as an inspiration, because what's the opposite? Like I'm not here to diss anybody, but like I don't see anybody inspiring people in the way that you can, or just by being and existing and succeeding. So I want you to share your story more or regularly, or doing this is great as well. But like, yeah, make more videos. That's important. And always do everything new. So like maybe for your next Entrepreneur Chit-Chat, you should have 3 entrepreneurs on with you at the same time and take advantage of that new functionality. And also what's cool about that is that then you're having more than one person on, all of their other followers are notified too. So then you have 3 people's followers notified that you're chatting with them. So it's just even more people that are becoming aware of you.
Thank you so much.
You
And
are,
sorry, go ahead.
you are on Twitter?
I have a Twitter account. I never really got into the tweeting. I'm a big talker. I love to talk.
Well,
And I feel like, oh man, I only have so many characters.
that's exactly why I was asking, because Twitter is going to be launching, or they already did in beta, Twitter Spaces, which is kind of like Clubhouse. It's an audio platform on Twitter. So, you should be on the forefront of everything, trying everything, and using all of that to help grow your business. So it's wonderful that you can be this influencer, but you're much more than just that. You're like an actual boss.
Thank you so much. Well, I honestly I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I really appreciate you being on today, and it was like honestly a starstruck moment for me even getting to talk to you. Um, but you guys, everyone watching, you can watch the full episode, part 1 and 2. I'll edit the whole version together on our YouTube as well. And of course, I'm sure all of you are already, but follow Perez, check out his website, check out all of your social medias, and keep smiling, everyone.
Oh, come here, you can show us. Oh, look what she did. Come say hi.
Oh,
It's a unicorn.
hi.
Very pretty.
Yo lo hice sola, no con mi nani.
She made it by herself. Thank you, me. I love it.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on everything that you're doing. And so many of my followers have questions for you. So maybe follow and maybe slide into your DMs if they have
Yeah,
questions.
of course.
Uh,
Any questions? I answer all questions on my comments in my DMs, so reach out to me. And I hope to talk to you soon.
all right. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Keep smiling.
Bye.